Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new Skylanders discussion based video here on my channel. Now note how I said discussion based video. That basically means that this isn't going to be my most heavily edited video, but it most certainly is going to be an important one, as today I acknowledge the doom and gloom of the state of the Skylanders franchise as of this current moment in time. Leading to this news, as a community we've absolutely been put through the ringer as leaks have been circulating Twitter, giving us all false hope for the past year, and now all that hope has officially died down due to certain events that have taken place in Toys for Bob, for the lead developer for Skylanders. Now you've clicked on this video for one thing, despite the fact that I have two fingers. That one thing would of course be the news, the facts of the matter, and we certainly will be getting into that towards the end of this here video. But what I have instead for all of you for the first few minutes of this video is a message that needs to be heard. I've had something on my chest that's just been boiling up, and now it's time for me to finally express my thoughts and feelings behind the leaks, the news. And so, naturally, you might not have known that you needed this message when you clicked on this video, but as soon as you've heard it, I'm hoping that it's going to have a positive impact on each and every one of you. It's going to be something that you didn't even know you needed to hear until you heard it. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and get into it. Now this right here is something I have to do for myself. I can't let this stuff just keep boiling up and eating up on me from the inside. So it's about time that I came out to all of you and said about the fact that I have gotten past the point of caring as to whether we get another Skylanders game or whatnot. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, Skylanders 7 does not need to exist in order for the perfect image of Skylanders to live in my mind, because I look at my comment section day in, day out, and I see so many passionate, creative people just expressing their ideas behind what would make a Skylanders 7 perfect to them. And that's just the thing, a Skylanders 7 could not be perfect for everyone. They will do things that certain people will love, that others will hate. There is no such thing as a perfect Skylanders 7, so we cannot have our expectations for a perfect reintroductory to the series. Is not going to happen. The only place where Skylanders is going to remain perfect is in our minds, and that's where I think it should stay. Keep coming up with these excellent Skylanders ideas, because the longer they no longer come into fruition, you know, the longer there are no longer missed opportunities by Activision, the longer this image of a perfect Skylanders game gets to stay with us. Skylanders is going to feel more alive in our minds when it's not there, and it's going to make us appreciate the 6 games we have much more than we ever have, because we've never got to see what's past Imagineers. That's how I look at it. I don't care about whether we get another Skylanders game or whatnot, because it makes me appreciate what we already have. We have 6 Skylanders games, which through them having died out after annual releases, people can finally look back, they can complete their collections, and people who weren't around back when this franchise first started, or people who weren't interested when the games were fresh and new because of the high price tag, can now go back to those games. They can get them for cheaper prices, they can pick up specific figurines that they're looking out for. And so naturally, all of a sudden, we have all of this new traction coming into the Skylanders franchise. We have new players each and every single year. Coming Clean Gaming, for Pete's sake, has just started with the franchise in the year 2021. So we get this new, unique and fresh perspective from new people coming into Skylanders due to the fact that now you no longer get to see it in the moment, because when these were releasing year in, year out, people could only ever see these as cash grabs, which you could never possibly get every single Skylander for every year, since it cost upwards of, you know, £500 as a bare minimal. And now that's no longer the case. it's a completely different environment that we live in now for the Skylanders franchise. And ultimately, without a new game, not only does Skylanders get to live in our minds as we get to just come up with our own ideas, as we get to create this perfect image of Skylanders 7 in our heads. And, you know, Activision, if they were to make a Skylanders 7, we wouldn't see any of that. We wouldn't see all of these great ideas being put out by the community, because Activision game developers, they just simply don't think in the same way. They don't have the same mindset as people like you and I, who are just simply making YouTube videos out of a passion for it. Because yes, Skylanders videos are never going to make you famous on YouTube. You're never going to get millions of views. You're never going to get millions of subscribers, probably. Don't let that discourage you. But what you can do is you can use this as a platform to tether people together, to keep us all united under a single passion, as we have a really diverse community here. No matter your history or your background, we're all connected by one thing, and that's our love and our passion for Skylanders. And that is the one thing that I want to keep preserved. I don't want to lose hope, because if we lose hope, and by extent we start losing our passion for this franchise, and that's when, you know, this franchise dies out in vain. Yes, it's not the most alive franchise right now even, but if it remains alive in our hearts, that's where it matters. Much more so than getting a new Skylanders game. Like, all of us are so obsessed with needing this. We feel like we need this. We feel like we deserve this. We, first of all, aren't owed anything. And second of all, this is not something we need in order to demonstrate our passion. There hasn't been a Skylanders game in 5 years, and yet we take to YouTube and we make these passionate videos anyway. So never stop being passionate about this franchise, because that's where the true magic of this franchise lives on. So in conclusion, yes, we're not getting a new Skylanders game, and I don't care. We might not get one for another 10 years yet, and I still won't care 10 years later, because Skylanders will still be something that I will forever be passionate about. Again, I can read these comments and I can just see just so many people being overwhelmingly supportive and comforting about just silly ideas that I put out there on the internet, and yet you guys enjoy it, you engage, you invest yourselves in this world of mine that I'm creating through my content, and that is the most powerful thing to me. That just, it really gets me out of bed in the morning. It really motivates me moving forward. It's so beyond heartwarming. I cannot express to you how powerful it is to look at this community and see the comfort and the support that we can create for one another. Anyone can come into this community from anywhere, and immediately you will receive support, you will see viewership, because we are out here, we're looking out for one another. We want to see each other succeed, because I very rarely see people jealous of other people's talent. There's so much talent within this franchise. I mentioned Come and Clean Gaming earlier, and he has just such a wide skill set. I really appreciate that. I admire it even. And this guy, you know, we're talking about someone under 4 subscribers here. He deserves all of the momentum he's getting moving forward. And if he was to surpass my sub count tomorrow, I wouldn't care. I would be so happy for him, because it means that there's still passion being put into this franchise, and there's still reason for people to make this content, because it's content that people watch, content that people find fulfilling. So naturally, that's where Skylanders is more important to me. I would rather have this community, I'd rather have this content being made day in, day out, rather than have a new Skylanders game, because all of a sudden a new Skylanders game comes out, and what happens is that all of the big viewership goes towards these bigger YouTubers who are being sponsored by Activision to create Let's Plays for this game, and how dull and repetitive would that get? I love the community as it is, and I wouldn't sacrifice that for anything, not even a Skylanders 7. So keep that passion rolling even. This is all non-scripted, because this is just genuinely how I feel. It's what needed to be said, it needed to be heard, and I'm so glad I could get all of this off my chest. Keep watching Skylanders content, keep making Skylanders content, and just genuinely keep enjoying Skylanders. That's my message to you. And now, let's get on with the news, because first of all, I want to acknowledge the leaks. When these leaks were first circulating, I did not buy into a single word of it. Since day one, I have not put any faith into the leaks. And, you know, over a year later, that has clearly paid off, because they were sketchy from the beginning, and they only got more and more sketchier with just information that didn't line up with things that we had already known. There was just direct juxtapositions in tweets that were being made. There was just clear-cut lies being shared about. And so naturally, you know, the fact that we bought into these leaks in the first place was stupid on our behalf. We were just being put through the ringer, as I said in the introduction. There was no reason for us to buy into these leaks, and yet we did so anyway. I'm not calling anyone stupid who believe in leaks. I am so glad that you guys, for that short amount of time, was able to have that hope, because having hope is an unbelievable feeling, and no amount of passion is ever going to replicate that. I wish I could have hope for a new Skylanders game, but at the end of the day, we need to just stop having the need for hope and instead move on to contentment, to finding contentment and passion in what we have already, rather than wishing for more. That's the message behind this video. Not that, you know, there's no reason to be hoping, that hope is not a good thing. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. And yes, that was the bright side behind the league, is having that hope. But I never believed in them, and after a year of them raising up false hope, I do, with a heavy heart, bring you the final nail in the Skylanders coffin, because Activision have taken Toys for Bob and pushed them in a new direction, because from now on they will become a sub-developer of Call of Duty. They're working on the third season of Warspace, I believe it's called, or Warzone, something along those lines. I'm not a big Call of Duty buff, I must admit, but that's because Activision is making this decision out of pure corporate greed. I mean, Call of Duty is their cash cow. Could you blame them? They are tailoring themselves towards what's making them the big bucks. And so naturally, all 9 of their major studios are now supporting Call of Duty to a certain extent. Vicarious Visions, Toys for Bob and Beanox are all supporting it. And Toys for Bob on top of that are continuing their support of Crash Bandicoot 4. You know, they're creating patches, they're porting it to current gen systems like the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, and I assume the Nintendo Switch soon enough. So the chances of Toys for Bob developing a new Skylanders game are slim to none. This could just be a temporary thing, but with the fact that Activision are not renewing for contracts of concept artists and just generally pre-production, for pre-production department even, would definitely imply that they are taking Toys for Bob in a direction to where they're becoming guns for Bob, is what they're doing. And it's so unfortunate that such a beloved studio with such creative integrity is now being limited to what they can produce by Activision. No more Crash Bandicoot, no more Spyro, at least nothing in terms of new stuff, because all of their creativity is going to waste now that they're becoming just another supporter of Call of Duty. And that's the world we live in, unfortunately, where Activision's greed, you know, outweighs all else. Forget creative integrity. What we need are shooters year in, year out that are going to make Activision for big bucks. And on top of that, the Skylanders website also recently got shut down, meaning that the only source of new Skylanders content we're really getting is Skylanders Ring of Heroes, which, sure, whilst it's not the most popular amongst the community, we can at least respect the fact that it's given us some sort of thing to look forward to. I mean, at the end of the day, when we get new Skylanders added to Ring of Heroes, it really pumps me up, and I can't wait to boot up the game to see just how crisp and smooth these characters look inside the game, because credit where credit is due, the Skylanders look incredible, and the animations and models within that game even are phenomenal and admirable for a free-to-play mobile game. It was never going to be a console game, so I wish people would just drop their expectations of it already, because at the end of the day what it is it's a mobile game, and that doesn't stop the developers that come to us from pouring in plenty of passion to go around. You know, they really care about this game, which is why they spent so long revamping it. and that revamp, of course, refined the gameplay, made it even more fresh and crisp. So overall, it's a really nicely presented game with some passion and care put behind it. So even if the gameplay can get a little bit repetitive and boring after a while, it still deserves our support as something Skylanders orientated for us to look forward to month in, month out, because the chances are it ain't going nowhere. And naturally, this leads us back to the question, does this spell out doom and gloom for the Skylanders franchise? Well, yes. Unless we have something to say about it, which is why my message here is to be emphasised. Keep the passion rolling behind this franchise. Don't let this, hopeless state at the moment overcome your passion, your commitment, and your motivation to create all of this content. Keep supporting one another and proving to me why this community is as phenomenal as it is. There is no other community that is as supportive or as warming to newcomers and veterans alike as the Skylanders community is. So take that to heart and use it to really push through and make content that comes from a place of passion, really. So yes, now that message having been emphasised plenty, I can definitely appreciate the fact that this is all beyond frustrating. I see you, I hear of all of your frustrations. It's a business model that makes sense. Despite how frustrating it is, it makes sense. And a lot of the developers at Toys for Bob have recently quit. They've been upset by the new direction the company is taking because they have so much passion and put so much heart and effort into games like Crash Bandicoot 4, so being able to no longer make those, to them it's heart-wrenching, and so they're leaving the company for it. A lot of people, for Toys for Bob's main concern is that they are worried about the employees there. I mean, these are human beings we're talking about here, and we are in a troubling, uncertain time. This is COVID right here, so people need their jobs, and people being laid off Toys for Bob, it's just such an unethical move to make right now, and that's not what Activision is doing, so they claim. They haven't renewed contracts for the pre-production department, but that's not the same as laying them off. They're not making them redundant or anything like that. There hasn't been any lays off for Toys for Bob, so at the very minimum, these people get to keep their jobs and their livelihood. I'm happy about that, at least, even though it does make me sad towards the Skylanders franchise. But again, my sorrow can be directly juxtaposed by the passion I have for this franchise and will continue to express towards this franchise, because nothing in my eyes can dial down the fun and the passion I have in making Skylanders content for each and every one of you, and the fact that you all enjoy and engage with it just makes it all the more fulfilling for me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate every last one of you. You are the greatest 1,000 plus subscribers on the face of the planet Earth. I truly believe in that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all so much for your unrivaling support. It's truly humbling, and I cannot wait to talk Skylanders with you some more. So let's get a discussion rolling in the comment section below. I cannot wait to share our common passion. But with all that being said and done, I will see you for another Skylanders video, and until the moment arises, peace.